Hey, it's the AK Option Trader back at you again with another look at some stock market charts and some market commentary. Well, let's jump into it. Pretty normal week, huh? Nothing went on last week. Real flat, nothing going down. Yeah, right. Um, you know, it's hard to talk about what happened on Thursday without being a little bit cynical. Uh, the markets, the pundits, everybody wants you to think that it was a fat finger, simply a mistake. And I'm very weary about that. It doesn't make a lot of sense to me. Is it possible? Sure, it's possible. But to me personally, from things I've been reading, things I've been hearing, um, and just because if you think about it, when that happened on Thursday, that market was already down 230 points. Now, that was a surprise to me. I expected Thursday to be up a little bit, 40, 50 points, something like that. And I saw weakness early on. I was trading the futures, and I actually got in prior to the big drop just because of the way the charts were lining up. Wasn't able to profit on it because it moved up real quick. Anyway, something is changing. I've expected a pullback for a long time. If you've been reading my blog at all, I've been waiting for a pullback, a pretty significant one. Now, we could still be in the midst of that pullback. This might be just a nice little pullback, another move down before we rally up to 12,000. And that's kind of what I'm counting on. I haven't moved some of my long-term stuff yet because of that. So there's a couple things I'd like to see happen before I start going real bearish on this. Short term, absolutely I'm bearish. Long term, absolutely I'm bearish. Mid term, I'm still kind of bullish. I'm still thinking we're going to see that down 12,000. It just depends, I guess. It depends on a lot of things. So let's look at some charts, see if we can figure this out. Here's a VIX, 5-year VIX. This is what I've been talking about for a long time. Every time it reached around 16, it would rally back up to at least the 32 area. And in some instances here, it's rallying up to 37, 38. Well, look at this move. We peaked out here at 42, okay? Not 37, not 38, 42. Notice something else? When it hit it over here, it left quite a bit of a wick. That means it pulled back that same day, except for this one here. Here, white candle. These are all black. White candle, hardly any wick at all. All right? There is a lot of fear coming into this market. There's a lot of volatility. I think it's going to continue. I think Joe Public's going to be seeing this, and I just think it's a perfect storm. Things are lining up with our president talking about how bad Wall Street is, Goldman Sachs going through their troubles. Just everything seems to be lining up for fear to enter this market. Now, that being said, I think the big money is going to be able to buy this market back up one more time. I really do. I just have a feeling. I could be 100% incorrect, but I still hold that we're going to see Dow 12,000 before we see a really significant pullback. That being said, this is pretty significant pullback. We are already almost back down here to these lows down here. In fact, we breached them on Thursday, and I'm not going to count Thursday very much. You count the body of the candle. So if we count, that's 1, 2, 3, 4 straight days down off of this bearish engulfing candle we saw in this breakout of this wedge. We've had 4 straight days down. We breached the 200 moving average, but it has held. I can see this thing holding. If we hit this 200 moving average, I will surely be looking for a bounce. I don't think it will close beneath it like it did on one day. I think it'll take several days. And it might be one of these bounce up and then go back down. I have the RSI and the MACD on here today just to show you how steep of a decline they've had. I've been putting them on some of the charts I've been posting. We did breach this level here. You can see I have them highlighted here. And I've said before, once we breach this, I think we're in for a pretty good drop. And you can see we did. So I'm thinking we're going to hit this 200 moving average and bounce up maybe and then take it out. And I don't know where support will be then. We'll have to watch. It could be any of these levels before we head back up. Now this 200 moving average could hold. We could come down here, and that could be the bounce that gets us back up. So, we may not make that 12,000 like I think, but it's got that feeling to me. If you look at the NASDAQ, very, very similar picture. Everything looks similar. It's moving first. It's moving farther, as I've said it would for quite a while. I thought the NASDAQ and the Russell would lead this market down when it turned over, and it looks like they are. Now, notice the 20 moving average is still above the 50. Okay, it hasn't crossed under like it did here, which it only did for a short period. So, we still could have room down. We got the 200 moving average to take care of, just like on the Dow. And this is the Russell, just to show you. This is that channel we watched for a long time. You know, every time it hit the bottom, it'd go up. Every time it hit the top, go up. We thought it was going to hold here and drop back down, broke through, and then it retested, took off, just like we were looking for. New high, like we're looking for. Now it's back in the channel, okay? So this is going to offer a little bit of resistance. So if it comes down here, hits the support right here, or this 200 moving average, and bounce back up and hits the top of this channel, don't be surprised to see it still out there for a day or two. Moving into the oversold area, it is moving down fast. And then the SPX, very same thing. The SPX actually touched the 200 moving average for the second day as well and breached it a little bit even. Again, 1, 2, 3, 4 days down off of this bearish engulfing out of this wedge that we're watching right here. You can see it broke out real nice. It wasn't a bearish engulfing, but it broke out of this wedge real nice. This one here was. And just had a nice down move. Whereas if we're playing strictly daily charts of daily candles, you would have looked at this and would have went short. Which we weren't, because this market's been in a bull market and we've had bounces off of this stuff for the most part. So once we had the breakdown, it's just been going, going, going. Now I'd expect this to actually move up a little bit on Monday. I'm looking for an update Monday. Again, just as kind of a, I don't know, kind of some relief buying off of the selling we've been seeing like crazy around here. And a lot of it has been based on the euro. The euro's been tracking with it pretty much tick for tick. I've been watching the euro futures a lot to play my intraday trades. I have it on a 5-minute chart, 1-minute chart, watching euros and trading my futures intraday based on that. You can see the euro had a nice move up actually. The market didn't mimic it as much, but it did come up off its lows. And in the past, I've talked about these moves right here. These flags off of the bottom Bollinger Band. In fact, I posted one on the ES last week, and I think wouldn't be surprised to see that same type of thing here. Maybe sideways to up off this bottom Bollinger Band, moving up into this area again before another drop. So that's kind of what I'd be looking for. Or it could just open straight down and keep on going down. But if it moves slow, kind of like this right here, it's beautiful. I mean, those are textbook right here. Boom, boom, boom. Just kind of moving off and then dropping down. That's kind of what I'd be looking for. So anyway, those are the indices. Now we're going to look at some individual stocks. So let's start with Garmin. I like Garmin for several reasons. In such a horribly weak market, Garmin had an earnings gap down, which held on the 200 moving average, actually moved up quite a bit here, had another inside day, which would normally be like a bearish for me. But then the third day, on Friday, it actually had a bullish engulfing candle on the 200 moving average, actually moved up. And what I really like about this candle is the top wick, is the bottom wick's a lot shorter than the top wick. So I think it's got room to move on up there. And bounce off this 200 moving average, probably even fill this gap. It's rare to find stocks like this on such a negative market. So I actually think Garmin is going to rally off of this move up here. Obviously, I would use the 200 moving average, or I'd probably use 33 or 32.75 as a good stop. Somewhere in there, because you can see it's been reaching down and touching pretty good. So keep an eye on that, but I like this maybe to rally up and go ahead and close that gap up there. Another one is Baidu announced a split, which I'm sure you all know about. But what I noticed about Baidu is that it doesn't generally fill the gaps here. It just gaps up and keeps on going. See, it doesn't quite fill all these gaps back here. Here it did, and back here it didn't. So most of the time it doesn't fill the gap. Well, look at this. It's already filled this gap very quickly. So now this could hold and bounce, or it could break down and continue to fall. I'll play it either way. So just keep an eye on this. If it stays sideways on here for 2 or 3 days, it's probably going to break it. If it's going to bounce, it's going to happen in a day or two, and it's going to bounce right up off the top of that. Pardon me. Here's another one that announced a split recently. ESRX. I just like it because it's just sitting on this nice uptrend in this channel here. So it just closed right on it. So watch this for a possible bounce. Obviously, if it breaks, I think it's going to drop down and fill this gap to 87.90, somewhere in there, $89. So that would be a great short if it does that. I think we've got time for one more. One of the old ones I've talked about several times this week, GMCR. I just like the way it's taken out the 200 moving average, and now it's beneath this channel line here, and it looks like it was trying to take off and head on up there, but it wasn't about to do it. You know, it's trending down slowly. It is oversold, but I still like this to the downside, especially if it makes another move up and tries to touch the 200 moving average and doesn't make it. I think it's going to fall significantly, probably down to the $60 area. So there you have it. Next week, we got a lot of good news coming out. It should be a moving market. The news should move this market. The volatility should move this market. Unfortunately, I'm going to be out of town Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. So I'll try to do posts Monday and Tuesday to keep up. Trade well and prosper. This will be the AK Options Trader signing off.